This is the final cut, and I am your host, Mark the Movieman, and we're going to dissect the horror movie called Hostel Part 2. Now, writer-director Eli Roth, who brought us Cabin Fever as well as Hostel Part 1, brings us the second installment into his very violent franchise to answer a couple of questions that arose the first time around. One was, who is the group behind the hostel? And two, who would actually pay money to go and kill people at the hostel? Well, Eli Roth's writing has gotten a lot better since the first one, and he does an excellent job in answering these questions by showing both sides of the story. First, we're introduced to three lovely college girls, Beth, Lorna, and Whitney. They are played by Laura German. She handles the character of Beth. You have Bijou Phillips, who is Whitney, the bubbly blonde who has very little moral scruples, and the virginal introvert, Lorna, played by Heather Matarazzo. Now, these three lovely ladies decide to go on a trip to Prague and end up staying at the hostel, which is where their nightmare begins. On the flip side, we have the reluctant Stuart, who has his rich friend Todd, who has won a chance to go and kill people at the hostel, and takes his friend Stuart along with him so it will make more of a man out of him and make him more fearful, as Todd likes to put it. Now, the big question with Stewart is, will he actually follow through with the act, or will he chicken out? Roger Bart plays the reluctant Stewart, and he plays it to the T. He does an excellent job of keeping you guessing if his character will actually follow through with the most violent, torturous killing of these young college kids. Folks, Eli Roth has improved in his writing immensely, and you actually care about the lovely ladies that are about to get maimed and mutilated and tortured and all kinds of nasty things to them. Unlike the first movie where I truly didn't give a damn about the main characters. We got to the point in the hostel where they were actually starting to get tortured, and I was like, finally some action, and that's pretty gory. Speaking of gore, he's doubled his efforts in Part 2, especially with the Elizabeth Bathory scene that involves Heather Matarazzo, who shows a side of her that you may not have seen before, her bear side. It's a very intense scene, and it had to be very difficult for the actress, and I give her high points for doing that scene. She did it very well. It had to be very difficult to do, and I think she really has a very strong career ahead of her. Folks, it is for the gore horror out there. Hostel 2 is extremely violent. If you are the casual horror watcher who's looking kind of a Silence of the Lambs thriller type, stay away from Hostel, okay? It's intense. There's extreme violent scenes in it, and it makes you start to question whether or not this is actually entertainment or if he's actually just trying to shock value and push the envelope to get people to watch his film. I will leave that up to you. I personally think that he is just paying homage to the extreme horror movies before him, such as Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which to this day scares the heck out of me, and the one that I figure is the king of extreme movies. And now is the special section of our show that I call Top or Flop. Yes, this is where I give an opinion of today's hottest actors and let you know if he's at the top of my list or if he's a flop. On the chopping block today is none other than Mr. Spider-Man himself, Tobey Maguire. Now, unfortunately, I consider Tobey Maguire a lukewarm actor. He surrounds himself with fantastic talent, as in Spider-Man and in Cider House Rules, and even in Seabiscuit, but as an actor himself, standing alone, there's a lot more potential there that I don't think he's giving because of the roles he keeps taking. He's going to stay on my flop list until he can take a role and give himself screen presence similar to that of, let's say, Jack Nicholson. Sorry, Toby, but you just didn't cut it this time. And that about wraps it up here for the final cut. I am Movie Man, and until next time, remember, keep your ticket stub.